I've been testing out streaming lately, like this stream right now, which no one's watching live, but will be recorded for posterity. And one device that I want to use, or at least test out more, is, if I could switch cameras, that would help. Oh my god, that's too far away. The Teradek VidiU Pro, which is basically an H.264 encoder that will connect to YouTube, Facebook Live, oh my god, a bunch of other platforms. Like, there's like maybe 8 built-in platforms, plus you can use RTMP to connect to anything else that can accept an H.264 IP stream. The one thing I don't like about this device is that it has batteries in it, or probably one battery, to be accurate, probably a lithium-ion battery. The issue with that is that I'm only going to be using this at home. The intention of the battery is so that this can be used on top of a camera. In fact, this hole that goes straight down the middle, that's so that you can put a bolt through it to mount it to hot shoe of a camera. And you can connect this either to your cell phone or on the USB port on the side, add a cellular modem to it, and basically live stream from any camera that has an HDMI output, because this obviously has an HDMI input. So it basically just converts HDMI into a IP-based stream. Now, the reason I don't want the battery is because this is going to be mounted in a rack. Not that it's rack mountable, basically just sitting on a shelf. And all my equipment, all my video equipment, is on a single switch. So when I turn that switch on, everything else turns on. The problem is when I turn that switch off, this thing being battery powered, it won't shut off. And I did see it, I don't know if I could demonstrate it now, this is actually very low on batteries. And I just plugged it in. Let me see if it does what I want it to do, or if it's just still completely dead. Yeah, it's still completely... Oh, no, wait. It might do it. When it was running low on batteries, like almost completely dead, it would go into a boot loop. And it would basically just keep shutting down. I think it's doing it right now. Or that was just it refreshing the screen. But anyway, when the batteries are extremely low, like about to die, it just goes into a boot loop, it flashes constantly. Plus, I don't want to leave this thing on and running for like however long the battery will last, an hour or whatnot, after I shut everything down. The problem is, it's turned on and off by this tiny little switch in the back. And if this is mounted in a rack of equipment, I can't get around the back side of this. Battery's at 3% right now. I just said it. So if I disconnect the battery, the idea is that I can just leave the switch in the on position, and when the power to it gets cut, the device shuts off, and when the power comes back on, the device turns back on, and that would be ideal for me. So the only way I can figure to disconnect the battery is to actually open this thing up and physically disconnect it, because sometimes devices have a way of disabling the battery in software. So like this has a menu, but there's nowhere in the menu to disable the battery. Unlike, for example, this Lenovo Carbon X1, it has a built-in battery, but you can actually disable it in the BIOS. That's, I guess, for maintenance purposes, and, well, probably for safety purposes if you're messing around on the inside of it. Not that I've ever shut the battery off, but it's at least an option. Unfortunately, this doesn't have that option. So, hence, disassembly is in order. There's no obvious way to open this up. However, I'm guessing that under these 4 feet will be 4 screws, because they're just little pads. Now the thing is, I do not want to destroy this, obviously. These were fairly expensive when they were new. I think they retailed for like $700-800 bucks, which is kind of crazy for what it is. However, it's a very reputable brand. They make really professional video equipment, and this has mixed reviews online. But overall, it's supposed to be okay. I paid a lot less than that because I found it at auction on eBay. And you can get really good deals that way if you're patient, or if you luck out. And I'm actually... No, I actually already have 2 of these. This is the second one. I just got this today. Yeah, the first one is doing this stream as we speak. Because perhaps an ill-advised idea, I want to try streaming on multiple platforms at once. For example, like Twitch allows non-game streamers now, like non-gaming streamers, I should say. and there are a couple of computer and sort of electronics streamers on there, and I like the platform. I mean, it's not bad, so I figured I'd give it a shot, but I really have most of my videos and stuff on YouTube, so I don't want to just leave the YouTube platform either, and I don't think there's anything to say that you can't stream to multiple platforms at the same time, except I need the hardware to do so. So hence 2 of these. And I mean, I'm not expecting to get any real traction on Twitch. I'm not trying to become like a super famous streamer. I just do this for fun. Well, I'm starting to do this for fun. If it becomes tedious, I'll stop doing it. I don't have ads in my videos because I'm not trying to make money off of it. I mean, if I ever got a lot of subscribers and I got any kind of traction, whoops. There we go, 4 screws, just comes right out. Very nice circuit board. You know, I might eventually monetize stuff, just because who doesn't like money? But for now, I'm just doing this for my own shits and giggles. Now, how does this come out without ruining anything? I'm guessing there's going to be at least 1 ribbon cable in here that I don't want to disturb. Well, I mean, I don't mind if I disturb it, I don't want to fuck it up. Okay, so there we go. So there is the main board. And basically, I mean, I haven't looked at all these components because this is the first time I've had it open, but I'm guessing this is pretty much just a computer, and I'm going to guess Linux-based, probably with an ARM processor. It has an Atmel, I don't know if that's a CPU. I don't know, I'm not really about, like, digging into the details of this device right now. I may do that in the future, but like I said, right now I'm mainly about just disconnecting this battery. Now, here's the annoying thing. This is the battery right here. It's a flat pack lithium-ion cell, or lithium polymer. It does not say. It's definitely going to be one of the two. And it's retained by this clear plastic piece and 3 screws. Now, the very annoying thing here is that this little connector goes to the front display. You can see the other end of that connector right here going to the back of the display. Then this connector with the multicolored cable goes to this device, which looks like it has an FCC ID. I'm guessing this is the Wi-Fi card. I'm going to take that out because I'm actually curious to see what that is. So let me just pull this out, and I'll show you the annoying part that I just noticed. Those have very nice connectors on them. The battery, however, is soldered into the board, and there's no connector on the other end. It's just soldered into. It looks like it has charge protection, like to prevent it from being overcharged or over discharged, but it's also soldered on that end, so nothing I can do there. And it has 3 leads. I'm guessing, you know, positive, negative, and the white is probably a sense lead. Though I'm not 100% sure about that. So I gotta figure out how I want to disconnect this. The obvious solution would just be to desolder these connections, which might very well be what I'm gonna do. Because whatever I do, I want to be able to reverse it, so that in the future, if I want to put this back together and resell it on eBay, or if I want to use it in a mobile way, I can do so. And obviously, if it's just a plug-in connector, this would make my life so much easier, because in 2 seconds I would have this solved, and I could just put this thing back together. But things are never quite that simple. So let me take a look at this random card in here. And it's not that random. I'm wondering if this is actually like, well, no, I was going to say maybe that's an Ethernet cable, but wow, that does not give me much information. The model number is WUBM273ACN. I'm guessing ACN is for 802.11a, C and N, but no, you figure this would be 802.11b compatible too. It does have 2 connectors for external antennae, and actually 2 more over here. It's got 4 connectors. And it has a MAC address, so I'm pretty freaking sure this is a Wi-Fi adapter. Who the manufacturer is, I don't know. I might look that up later, but you know what, actually I'll look it up now because I'm just very curious. go over to my trusty laptop, which I can't bring up on the screen right now, so you're going to have to trust me as I tell you what the fuck this is, hopefully. 273 ACN, not ACS. Yep, 802.11 ACBGN USB module. Okay, so this multicolored cable here is actually a USB cable. And that would make this a USB port. Oh no, it's plugged in here. Oh shit, which one was it plugged into? Yeesh, and these connectors are identical. Well, that's kind of a crapshoot. Oh no, they're not identical. This one has a little... no, they're both identical. Frig. Well, that's embarrassing. I'm actually going to have to look at the video on a different computer and scroll back to see how I disconnected this, but that can wait, obviously. Should I secure this back in place? I suppose I should secure this back in place. It's kind of weird that it's just held in by two little screws on the same side of the board, but hey, I guess whatever works. I don't want to get this wire tangled in there, though. Oh my god. Drop the screw into the case. This is going brilliantly. Oops, I didn't manage to short out the lithium-ion battery, or whatever technology it is. Am I not in the hole? I'm not in the hole. There is the hole. Before I tighten that down, let me get this one in. Oh my god. Oh, by the way, the manufacturer of this card, it looks like, is Sparkland. And it's for sale on Amazon. Probably not in this exact form factor, but... oh man, pardon my head being stuck in here. I just want to make sure this is lined up. Put it so that you can see what the hell's going on, more or less. Not that it shouldn't be somewhat obvious. Okay, so that's back in place. That's great. Actually, you know what? These connectors are kind of... the cables have a little memory to them, so it's kind of obvious where they go. So I guess I don't have to look that up. See what I mean? So that's at least good. Now, fortunately, I mean, I could see the circuit board at the end of this battery, so the overcharge protection, over discharge protection should be built into the cell itself, or into the end of the cell. So if I short these out while soldering them, it should not cause the battery to melt down. That is the hope. My other option is, of course, to clip these cables, and then later, if I want to reuse this as a portable device, splice them back in. Or, if I really wanted to be ambitious, I don't think I have any connector that would be appropriate, but I could cut this cable and put a connector on either end, and then have this be modular for future use. But I don't really anticipate ever using this in a mobile way, so I'm really thinking about just clipping the red wire, and later I can just splice it back together. Decisions. It's just soldered onto the surface. It should be pretty... you know what? I'm going to desolder it. Just the red wire, though, because the other two, it shouldn't matter, because obviously you won't get a complete circuit without the red wire. It won't power anything. I don't know if any current would flow between the black... no, because... well, I actually don't want to speculate, because I have no idea. But one moment, please, as I get my soldering kit. I keep my soldering stuff in this very professional looking Bob Vila bag. Let me switch back to the live stream. Yeah, this actually came with a bunch of tools in it, but right now it has a bunch of soldering crap, including my soldering station, just to keep it out of the way, and because occasionally I do bring this places, so it makes it really easy to grab and go. Don't need solder, but I gotta get it out of the way to get all this stuff out. It's almost like not worth deploying the soldering iron just to desolder this one connection, but I've already come this far. Okay. Wonderful. Not that anyone asked, but this is a Stahl Tools, S-T-A-H-L, digital display soldering station. It's worked well for me. I don't know that it's necessarily the best in the world, but it's certainly not bad. I'm going to have to put this in a weird place, though, so I can get power to it, because I have a power strip under my table. Actually, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 power strips under my table. But that's neither here nor there. Turn that on, start it heating up. So this is what we got. This is in a really inconvenient spot, though. Let me shove it over here. And I'm left-handed, so that should be on my left. Now we watch the exciting part as the soldering iron heats up. I guess in the meantime, I'll go back over here to this computer, and I'm going to look at that Wi-Fi card. Because like I said, it's available on Amazon. I'm just wondering, wondering. 46 bucks. That seems crazy. But it's not eligible for Amazon Prime, so this is from some arbitrary seller. But, yeah, and it's exactly the same board, which you can't see. It's exactly the same as this, except instead of having a connector, like a header for this type of connector, it has an actual USB male type A connector. But it is a bare board. Shoot, I really wish I had the laptop. 1 second. Let's see if this works. I've been having a problem where, in theory, I should be able to show what's on the laptop screen to you, but the laptop keeps going out of sync with my video switcher, and hence looks like a garbled mess. But it's working right now, so let's take advantage of this. So this is what I'm looking at. Yeah, so as you can see, USB connector. It looks like the inside of that is blue, which probably means it's a USB 3 connector, which I would expect because you can't really get that much bandwidth off USB 2.0. And yeah, that is exactly what the card looks like, except the markings are a bit different. Did that just jink? That did just jink. Soldering iron is getting pretty hot. I think it might be there. So anyway, and this was all I searched. I'm sure there's more. It's probably going to be available on like Alibaba or something. Oh, Newegg actually has it. But based on the capitalization of that title, I would say this is not sold by Newegg. And they want $72 for it. Holy shit. I don't know if that means it's a decent adapter or if it's just overpriced. Huh. Anyway, switch back to the old streamy stream. I don't usually talk like that. I don't know why I said streamy stream. Alright, and back to the device. I'm not touching it, I'm just like sort of hovering over it. In fact, let me just get a little piece of solder just to tin the tip and clean it off. Oh yeah, that's definitely hot enough. Now usually I don't actually break solder off unless I'm really trying to get into a tight place. I usually just take it right off the spool. But now the other trick here is that, you know, maybe to keep the battery from shorting out, here's what I'm going to do. Actually, this is sort of rendering the soldering iron pointless as well, but I can clean up the pad at least. Why don't I just cut this really close to the pad so I don't have to worry about shorting the contacts out? I feel like I'm diffusing a bomb, and I kind of want to get this on camera. Not that anything's going to happen, but it always makes me nervous. Actually, I don't want to touch the shield of this because that might be bonded to the negative rail. Oh shit. And my hand's shaking for no apparent reason. Yeehaw. I mean, I don't think shorting out the battery for half a second would actually cause the pack to explode. And like I said, it has that circuit board on there, but I don't want to kill that either, because I don't know if I did a dead short, if that would kill the protection circuitry on there. So better not to find out the hard way. Now, should I clean up that pad? I suppose I shall. I'm just kind of going to flick that out of the way. Just that little bit of insulation. Dump that in there. Soldering iron looks nice and clean. And I'll leave that little bit of solder there. I mean, if I'm going to resolder to that pad, I'll just flow a little extra fresh solder on there. But yeah, that was the extent of the need for the soldering iron. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just think of cutting it off real close like that. Because the advantage there too is that there's no like bare copper on this. I'm going to cover it with a piece of electrical tape anyway, just so it doesn't short against anything, but it's very unlikely to shorten something when it's like this. I mean, if it hits it on the very end, yes. But plastic case and all, I mean, it would have to hit some, well, it could hit the shielding, I guess. Which, who knows if it has continuity to negative. Does it have continuity to negative? I'm going to get my multimeter. That's why I've disappeared. Continuity. I'm assuming you can hear that. It does have continuity to negative. Well, there we go. And I'm assuming this white wire does not. I mean, why would it? So, yeah. So yes, if I had been unlucky enough to short this red wire out against this shielding, that would have been a problem, potentially. So now what I need is electrical tape. And surprisingly, I don't have any electrical tape here. Actually, if you want to see something visually horrible, the computer is just gone out of sync, and I'll show it to you real quick because it's going to be very displeasing to look at. But that is what it looks like, which obviously is not fun to observe. And I still haven't figured out why. It stays in sync for about like 5-10 minutes, or however long you just saw it was. And then it just goes out of sync and does that, which is not pleasant for anyone, especially for me, because it's annoying. And I don't know why it's happening, quite frankly. I was just looking at my heat shrink collection, but I'm not going to heat shrink onto it. That seems kind of silly. I'll get some nice blue electrical tape. I have red, but I would rather use something that contrasts with the color of the actual wire. And I'm going to cut it instead of ripping it, even though, well, ripping it's fine if you're using a decent amount of it, but if you're just using a tiny little square of electrical tape, I would always cut it. And all I'm going to do is stick it right on top of that, fold it over. Yeah, fold it over really in a sloppy way. And then, you know what, just to belt and suspenders it, I'm also going to tape it down to that. Just to extra hold it out of the way. For safety. Actually, let me get more of the wire in there. I mean, this device isn't going to be bumped around. Like I said, it's going to be sitting on a shelf. So there's not too much that's going to happen to disturb this. It should just sit there nicely for the rest of its days. Because I'm probably, like I said, never going to reconnect it. But good to know I have the option, because now I can just strip a tiny little bit off the end of that red wire, solder it back onto that pad, and back in business. Now maneuver this back into position. I know this isn't completely visible, but there you go. That goes in there. That goes in there. Both those connections look nice and tight. Now there's a pillar in here, which is that hot shoe mounting hole, and the cables kind of want to go on top of that, but I seem to have got them squared away in a neat and tidy fashion. Yeah, I mean the board's like not See, the board's not sitting down completely. I don't like that. That means it's like pressing on something internally. It's probably just the wires bunched up a little bit. I don't want to overly pinch them, but I mean, it's not much force. I don't think screwing the board down like that's going to be a problem, because I don't see any obvious way to get the wires more neatly routed to prevent that from popping up. So I think I might just have to live with that. But it shouldn't be a problem. I don't foresee that being an issue. Alright, well that was simple. It's got a little sidetracked, but overall pretty easy. I just hate when they hide screws. I mean, I know they don't want this to be user serviceable. They obviously don't want me going in here. I mean, not so badly they didn't put a warranty void of open sticker, but it's not really meant for people to open at will. Oh, my point being, the thing that bothers me about a lot of devices like this is that they do hide the screws, I guess for cosmetics, but also to sort of dissuade people from getting in there. They do put the screws under these feet, and they don't always stick back in there very well, and sometimes you end up damaging the feet when you take them off. Like I said, I understand why they do it, because we're never supposed to open it up, and probably if you send it back for warranty maintenance and they do fix something in it, they'll just put brand new feet on it, because they have a shit ton of feet, I'm assuming. Or they have, you know, the appropriate adhesive for this. But it doesn't really help me that much. I was going to ask why the top of this is now sticky, but I think my fingers are sticky from the foot adhesive. Okay, well, that's back together. I'm going to leave it, well, I'll turn it on, just to observe that it does not turn on because the battery's disconnected, as we desire. Well, as I desire, I don't know if you desire it, but that's sort of the goal, so. It's desirable. And then now I have the switch in the on position. So hopefully if I plug this in, it should just turn on. Unless I ruined it. Hey. Good news. And I'm just going to let it boot up a little bit until it gets into the menu so that I can just make sure both these nubbins work. And I actually don't know what to call these. I guess they're joysticks. I guess that would be the name for them. Because they're not just buttons. You can push them in and they click, but you can also push them up, down, left, and right. Excuse me, I just burped a little. That's sexy. And you can use them to navigate the menu on the bottom or start, stop on the top, which lets you start the stream from the device. So you don't actually need a computer to operate this, which is also kind of cool. I like that aspect of it. Basically, to stream this right now, I just have this device linked to my Google account, or linked to my YouTube account via Google, because YouTube's owned by Google. And so whenever I was going to say whenever I turn this on, whenever I go into the menu, I can select an event, which is a live stream, and then just hit go live, and it'll automatically start broadcasting on that live stream. Press menu button for more options. Let's skip the network connection. It's just saying it can't connect to the network. We get glare not on this. I know the screen is flickery and not all that visible to you, but the idea isn't so much to show you the menu as it is to make sure that this thing's working. And as you can see by me going down, up, right, and then left, the joystick's working. And then if I go back to here, this one's working. Start broadcast, no. Couldn't possibly if I wanted to. That's not my IP address, that's whoever I bought it from's IP address, so I guess I could stream to his thing, whatever it is, but I'm not going to do that. In fact, I probably shouldn't even show it on camera, but no one watches this stream, so it's probably irrelevant. Don't hack into him. And now, obviously, if I pull the power, this should just shut off, because the battery is disconnected. So, mission accomplished. Hey, this device is now as I want it to be. Incidentally, these two Velcro pads, I put those on the bottom. To rack mount this, I simply bought a 1U rack mount shelf that's very shallow, 6 inches deep, which is way deeper than this. This is, I think, 3.5 inches deep, or 3 inches deep. Anyway, this is very small, as you can see from the size of my hands. I don't have a measuring tape handy, but just take my word for it. If anyone recognized this old type of screwdriver box from Radio Shack, it's sort of like similar size. Thicker, obviously, but, you know. I know it's hard to tell scale sometimes on videos. But anyway, this is going to sit in that rack mount shelf and just be Velcroed into place. I only put 2 tiny little Velcro pads, and one is specifically covering this label. That's quite on purpose because there's a lot of vent holes down here, and I don't want to cover these all up with Velcro, or even cover a lot of them up with Velcro by putting a whole stripe down here, even though that would obviously hold a lot better. But yeah, so I'm just covering up a few vent holes right here. And I think that should still be fine. And there's only one stripe of Velcro on the shelf. I don't have a portable camera to show you that, but it's not very interesting. And so this should stay a little bit proud because there's 2 layers of Velcro, so it should allow a decent amount of air circulation underneath it. In fact, probably more than just these feet will allow. You can see they don't stick out very far. This does get fairly warm in operation, so yeah. Anyway, that is the extent of this project. And no one has joined the stream, which is kind of embarrassing. I feel like it's weird to like talk to no one on a live stream. However, since this is being recorded by YouTube, I figure this is just easier than me actually having to record a video separately and then upload it. Not that that's that complicated, but I make it more complicated than it has to be. So this is just a quick way of getting a video online. The pressure being that it's live and I have to talk good whilst live. You know what I mean? So anyway, thanks for joining me on this recording. End communication.